Hey everybody, Ty here. I hope everyone is doing well. Over the last few days, weather's been a little bit quiet in a way, but in other ways, it's been kind of active. If you look out towards the west right now, you can see that we have plenty of showers and storms over here. This is due in large part to a low pressure area and also a little bit of extra help from the monsoon setup that we have over towards the southwest. So, rainfall chances are going to continue over there. There's even a slight risk for excessive rainfall, aka flash flooding over here, and that's going to be a threat that actually progresses over the coming days for this region. As far as severe weather is concerned, nothing really noteworthy to talk about. In fact, when you really think about it, this is probably the longest stretch that we've had of no severe here, probably since maybe the beginning of the year, honestly, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you don't really have a whole lot of gripes to be had there. Now, obviously, one thing that we will be talking about as we look a little bit closer at the potential for more precip over towards the southwest, particularly, is of course going to be the big cool down that we're experiencing now, really. In fact, today, I don't even think my area reached 80 degrees. I'm in north central Georgia, for anyone that's curious, so well below average here. And for a lot of the lower 48 over these next couple weeks, this is kind of what we're going to come to expect. It's going to feel a lot more like fall. A lot of people are labeling it as a fake fall, and I mean, I tend to agree. The only places that really aren't going to feel too much of that, but even then are going to be feeling near normal outside of these areas, is going to be over towards southern Texas, maybe Louisiana coastline, and also towards the Florida Peninsula, and of course the Northwest and Western states in general, at least over this first week. Things do kind of change as we get into the 2 week phase, but I do think we'll start to see some warming up beginning to occur after the end of the first week, heading into the second week of October. So, definitely gonna be feeling a lot different outside. It's gonna feel pretty good. Just where I was today, it was pretty nice, I'd say. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you would tend to agree. Now, in regards to precipitation, like we mentioned before, really it seems like the hot spot's going to be over towards the desert southwest, over towards south central Texas. Main thing we're going to be concerned about is increased rainfall. I'm not so sure that we're going to have excessive flash flooding or anything like that, but the rainfall chances are going to be a little bit more consistent over towards the region. And it really even is kind of indicated in the early part of the month here. So we get towards the back half, in case anyone might have missed the 1 month outlook here, things are set to change. So some things that we'll need to keep in the back of our head here, so to speak. So let's go ahead now and take a look at our model data here. Today we're just going to use the GFS and the Euro, mainly due to the fact that, well, it's not really a whole lot of model discrepancy here. I mean, every model that I've looked at has pretty much shown the trough that we're dealing with now, and we're going to continue to deal with that trend over the next couple of weeks here. It's really not going to be till we get towards the middle part of the month where things start to kind of warm back up here. As long as we see the trough here on the main part of the screen, it's going to stay relatively nice out, I would say. Storm chances do look like they start to increase as we get into September here, and then eventually, after all of that begins to pass, as we get towards the 6th and beyond here, this is where we start to see some ridging beginning to return to the lower 48, and this is going to help increase temperatures, maybe even bring back some severe weather chances towards maybe the northern states, Rockies, maybe even the central plains as well. This is also kind of backed up on the 700 millibar screen that we have here in the bottom left. If you look at that really closely, you can actually see the short waves popping up with these little contour lines on the screen, kind of backed up with those mid-level winds, which is usually an essential factor when it comes to storm development, and particularly also looking at that for any sort of severe weather potential. And it does look like there could be some possible as we get towards maybe the middle month, around the 10th and the 11th of next month. So if we switch gears here and take a look at what's really going to be the talking point, we're going to really be looking at the dang it, I can't get this to move right. But it looks like the real talking point, of course, is going to be the temperatures. I'm hoping that this didn't freeze on me, because one thing about this beta website is the fact that this tends to freeze pretty often here. It does look like I'm probably going to have to refresh all of this. And there we go, quick fix. Let's get this all moving here. On the bottom left corner, we'll go with that first here since we got it moving, is going to be the temperature anomaly. This is a comparison to our temperatures at average. And you can see over a lot of the lower 48, especially over these first couple of weeks, especially and mainly the first week in particular, is where we have probably the most notable numbers, where we see temperatures maybe 10 to 15 degrees below average. By the time we get towards the end of this, though, notice that we're starting to warm back up. We're about 10 to 15 degrees back above average, where we have these colors in the darker shade of orange, maybe even starting to sneak into the red here. But before then, and this is the time frame where we're at that first week of September here, unless you're out towards the west, we're still dealing with those temperatures about 10, maybe even 15 degrees below average. But there it is right at the end after that first week. There it is. There's our warm up. So, I mean, at some point all this comes to an end, but even then, about 5 to 10 degrees above average is not awful compared to what we have been dealing with. There's still a chance that we could warm back up more significantly, but right now, as it stands, I would expect those odds to be a little bit on the lower end, I would say. Now, if we look at the main part of the screen, you can see that, again, as we get towards the back end of that first week and beyond, we start to see those 80s, 90s starting to return, just like we were seeing on the temperature anomaly. But before then, these next few days, there could even be some mornings where we're dropping into the 50s in the deep south, even the 40s over here towards the Midwest and even the Northeast. A 30-degree temperature would even be possible up towards the mountain ranges, maybe even a 20. So fall, well, I wouldn't say fully fall because it's technically not fall yet. We still have a little bit less than a month to go to reach there, but fake fall, as a lot of people are saying, has arrived here. We're getting our little sneak preview, so to speak, as to what we could get and what I'm sure a lot of people are hoping to get. Anyway, though, let's go ahead and take a final look at what our precipitation could look like, and we'll kind of go on from there. And the main thing that I would be pointing out at this point really is what we've been mentioning before, out towards the southwest, over towards Texas in particular. Not as much rain towards the east or southeast in particular starting out, but as we go further along here, especially as we get towards the 5th and beyond, that's when we start to see the rain chances increase for the Gulf Coast, the deep south here. Now, one feature that I am going to go over really quickly is going to be this little feature that pops up as this little low pressure passes. Now, this is only on an operational run because I think it was right about here where the low pressure pops up around the 2nd. This is, like I mentioned, it's on an operational run. Some models have been kind of picking up on, others been a little bit more back and forth. So as a result, I wouldn't read into that too much. It does not seem like we're going to have a situation where we have a major hurricane come in and just slam the Northeast or anything like that, or even a hurricane in general. So no need to hype that up, but maybe something to pay attention to in the long range. At this point, I wouldn't worry about it. But if needed be, we'll be making more updates on this pretty soon. But that being said, that's pretty much all we got for this video. Be sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. This is a quicker one for you guys today. I'll have another video hopefully out for you guys tomorrow. But until then, take care and have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday.